Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Moss.
I'm Mr. Levine, and we are here to talk to you today about the types of propaganda techniques. So, we're going to start with what is a technique, right? What does it mean to have a technique or to perform a technique? Well, a technique is a specific way of doing something. So, used in a sentence, Jason Tatum has a great technique when it comes to shooting a basketball. As you can see in that picture there on the slide, Jason Tatum has his hands way up, shooting from a high release point, right? Looks great. Where you have Sean Marion has a bad technique when it comes to shooting for the basketball. As you can see, the picture kind of shooting lower, right? Not as a nice shot. So, a technique is a specific way of doing something.
So, do you have a good shooting technique?
I personally do not.
Huh,
I do
okay.
not. I shoot like Al Horford with like my elbows out too much.
Okay.
But you know. And then
Next up, we have propaganda. Propaganda is used in a variety of different ways over the course of one's life. But what propaganda is, it's media that uses carefully created messages. Carefully created messages uh, that to manipulate people's actions and beliefs. So it's trying to influence the way that you think about something. So it's trying to influence the way that we think about something. So now we're going to take a look at the different propaganda techniques that exist in order to try to make us think a certain way. So I'm going to start with what we call a testimonial or an endorsement. So a testimonial or an endorsement. That's when a celebrity or a well-respected person supports a product, idea, or political candidate. So I can see over here some examples of testimonials or endorsements. We can see Oprah Winfrey endorsing Barack Obama for president back in 2008. We can see former basketball player Shaquille O'Neal endorsing Papa John's Pizza. And then we can see Lil Wayne, instead of releasing the Carter 5 or the Carter 6 at this point,
up to the Carter 6.
up to the Carter 6, Lil Wayne is endorsing Donald Trump for president. So maybe he's going to release maybe a mixtape with him.
Maybe.
It's very possible.
A feature.
Yeah.
So the next technique that is used for propaganda, so it's not just, oh, that celebrity loves that thing, I should also love that thing, like we were just talking about with endorsements. It's also everyone else is doing it, so you should too. So bandwagon describes jumping on the bandwagon. People choose to go along with the rest of the crowd. So it creates the impression that there's widespread support of something. So you can see in the example here in the slide is McDonald's hamburgers, over 99 billion served. So saying that we sell so many, we've sold billions upon billions, why wouldn't you want one too?
So basically, everybody else is doing it, so should you. That's how they try to convince you with the bandwagon approach. Next up, we have name calling or negative attack ads. So with negative attack ads or name calling, it's basically they use negative words or bad names to create fear and dislike for people, ideas, or institutions. So we can see the example. This was during the 2020 presidential election. People who were against Joe Biden, they had said, "Oh, should America trust Sleepy Joe?" So they're using the nickname Sleepy Joe to attack him for who he is. And then you can see another example. We can see a tweet from Donald Trump back in 2016 when Donald Trump was running for president. One of his political opponents at the time was an individual by the name of Ted Cruz. So Donald Trump labeled him as Lion Ted Cruz. So he labeled him as a liar. So he's attacking him.
Right. And our next strategy is glittering generalities. So this technique is to show a person, company, or whatever else it might be in a positive way, but doesn't provide much information or any evidence. So we can see the example here in the image. Ford built tough.
What does that mean?
What does that even mean? I'm
so
not really
how
sure.
tough is it?
I mean, as tough as Ford wants you to believe it to be, I guess.
Okay.
And then Obama, it's time for change. It's not really in that ad saying what kind of change, right? What sort of vision is that really meaning, right? It's just saying change, right? Keeping it very general, very right off the surface, nothing too deep, right? Ford built tough. What does that really
Yeah,
mean?
I don't know.
We don't really know.
What kind of change?
What kind of change? So that is what they mean by glittering generalities.
Okay, next up, card stacking. That's when you use this particular technique. That's when you use facts and figures to show one side as positive and the other side as negative. So, for example, I watch TV. When I watch TV, I almost always see cell phone provider ads. So I see AT&T, Verizon Wireless, T-Mobile, and so on. One example would be that Verizon Wireless always likes to say that they are better than AT&T because they always provide more coverage in a particular area. So they are saying that they are better than AT&T because they, in that ad right there, they provide 5 times more 3G coverage, even though we're up to basically 5G at this point, coverage than AT&T. So even though AT&T might be doing something better in other areas, they are pointing out one way in which they are doing something better than AT&T. So we'll now move on to plain folks.
Plain folks. So plain folks sends the message that a product or person is just like you, right? Even though if that person may be a celebrity with enormous wealth or a politician with enormous influence, they're going to try to do things to make you feel like, oh, I'm just like that guy, right? So we can see here we have politicians that are eating at like a fair, like eating a corn dog and a turkey leg. You have Brett Favre, former NFL quarterback, right, wearing Wrangler jeans, right? I'm wearing Wrangler jeans right now, supposed to make me feel like, oh, Brett Favre is just like me. I should buy a pair of Wrangler jeans, right? Nationwide, we stand for you, right? They're just like everyday folks helping people out. And then we have the candidates from the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, also enjoying some fair fare, if you will.
Yep. And next up, we have transfer, guilt by association, or what's called coattailing. That's when you use feelings that you have about one thing to get you to feel the same way about something else. So I know that when Joe Biden ran for president, almost many ads that we saw about Joe Biden usually let us know that he was vice president with Barack Obama, who was a widely, very, very popular president. Obviously, he did have some people who didn't like Obama, but there were a lot of people who really liked Obama. So Joe Biden tried to connect himself to Barack Obama. And then in addition to that, we see over here, militant men drink Coca-Cola. So they're trying to connect the idea that, patriotic soldiers are drinking a product like Coca-Cola, and it's the drink that fights back. So if I am a person who drinks Coca-Cola, I am connected to those, honorable soldiers who are fighting off in another country to defend our freedom. So we can see that propaganda technique in use with those two particular ads right there. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful, wonderful day.